look old as fuck, fair play.
Not as old as me. Yeah.
Need to get Botox. Greg P and JT from 100%, and we are joined by the OG, really, of the fitness industry. Are you still Welsh champion, Welsh middleweight champion?
I think I am, mate.
Yeah, Welsh middleweight champion. Funky pump owner, Mr. Christopher Ware. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Really good.
Yeah, we're all right. We're alive. That's enough.
Good man. Good man.
So thank you for joining us tonight, Chris.
No worries.
So this is probably going to take about 5 to 10 minutes. So just give a brief introduction about yourself.
Brief introduction. Okay. Brief
would be about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
An extended one would be about 30.
Well, I'm hoping that after 14 years in the industry and working on the doors and being a boxer and stuff, most people will know potentially a little bit about the background, but I would probably describe myself as gym owner, fitness owner, funky pump owner. We've dipped our toe in some other business along the way. Do a bit of club promoting at one point with Ed and a couple of nights out, plenty of illegal parties. Some really good white collar boxing shows, some award-winning white collar boxing shows. 3 kids, missus, fiance, and just looking forward to the next chapter now of what the next chapter brings, really, to be honest. So that's it. We'll see what that happens.
So I was going to talk about the next chapter, but now that you've perhaps introduced it, it's probably better if we talk about it now. So what is, for people who don't know, what is the next chapter for you?
Well, the next chapter is obviously the new gym, the super gym up in Cumdee Industrial Estate.
Yeah.
Very exciting sort of prospect. We are, moving ahead rapidly with that, and this, is really starting to take shape. Yeah. It's, it's a huge project, and, we've been lucky to be able to maintain a lot of the work and the momentum up there during this time. Mm-hmm. Looking back, it probably has been a blessing in disguise for me as someone who's so busy, like me and you speak about it regularly, Greg, where, I'm definitely be labelled as a busy fool in terms of running around the place. Yeah. I'm in Cleckley, Merthyr, Rhondda, up to Ely. If someone says to me, "Oh, can you do this class?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be down to Haverford West." You name it, I'm on it. Because it's it's been my passion for a long time, and I've always sort of I would never ever let it down. So this sort of break, I'm really enjoying it. I gotta be honest, it's I'm up the gym in Northampton Lane to train in the morning. Yeah, and then I'm up the gym in Cumdee by 8. I work all day, and then I'm enjoying coming home in the night and, spending time with the family and the kids. So, obviously that's going to change dramatically when it all kicks off, and it'll just be all guns blazing again. So, the objective is obviously to get the new gym open, but at the same time, keep on, progressing the brand, because I think this will really give us a platform now to go to the next level. I think we're going to set our stall out. We're upgrading the gym in Port Talbot dramatically, and I've got plans in Cleckley as well. So, there's loads going on, mate.
I didn't even know about the Port Talbot and the Cleckley projects.
No.
I thought you were selling Port Talbot. That's the last I heard.
Well, that was the plan, but then my planning permission got denied on the new gym, or the new premises in Port Talbot.
Right.
So what we've decided to do is, with this sort of time, we've ripped Port Talbot apart, basically. It's an absolute mess at the moment. So we're basically just giving it a refurb. Yeah. Because we didn't have the planning accepted on the new building down by the docks. Right. We've had to just settle where we are. The building itself is massive.
Huge. Absolutely huge.
Yeah. And it just means that we'll just have to put the planning on the back burner for the flats. And I think because we've had so much momentum with the gym in Cumdee, I think it will help with all the satellite clubs that we own. Obviously, I think Port Talbot will benefit because a lot of the members will come down to Cumdee. Yeah. Members in Neath, members in Cleckley. All of the people around South Wales that use our venues will benefit from this gym in Cumdee because of the location. People from Port Talbot will probably pop over on the weekends, on a Sunday, maybe later in the night. So me and Jason made a decision that that was the direction we wanted to go in now for the next 5 years or so.
Okay, I didn't even know about that. So what's the plans with Llanelli as well then? As you said you've got planning for there as well.
Llanelli will be similar sort of thing, probably on a slightly smaller scale.
Yeah.
Found a premises now, and everything's on the back burner a little bit, isn't it? Because obviously councils are shut. It's just difficult getting the momentum. So I want to concentrate all my time, energy, and obviously the money on the Cumdee project.
Yeah.
But I've got a couple of little things up my sleeve which are like I'm really excited about. Like it's as per usual, and I can see you smiling there. Like I got it nailed down already. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay. Is this one organised, or is it like Chris Ware organised chaos?
I know what's happening, but nobody else does.
Organised chaos, then.
Yeah, organised chaos probably. Like
the amount of times with me and you and I've been stressing out, and you'd be like, "It's fine, man, it's fine." It always comes together in the end, but last minute. They could kick off at 7 o'clock and it's not ready until 2 minutes to 7.
Oh, mate, the gym in Llanelli was probably the biggest transformation I've ever seen in my life in such a small space of time. Like I had people coming down there and they were like, "Chris, you are opening tonight, mind?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know." I said, "I'll be ready." And they were like, "What do you want about? Like, how can you possibly say that?" I said, "Look, trust me, it will be ready." And there was about 100 and odd people outside the door. And it was so far from being ready. It was unbelievable. And we had about 20 minutes to sort of sort it out. But we did it. Like, I mean, it was exciting. I love it. That's the problem, though. I think I genuinely do love it. Yeah. And I'm trying to get away from that. And this is not one of them. Mind up in Cumdee, it's a totally different ball game.
Like a military operation.
Well, it's like we're bang on it. Like, I've got a spreadsheet and everything, Greg. That's how serious I am about this.
Sorry, you turned into an Excel maestro.
Yeah. I just can't believe that I can write stuff on my Google Sheets in my house, and then Jason can look at it then in his house. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I don't know what's going on.
You've come a long way in 3 months. You've come a long way in 3 months.
Yeah, but it's one of those. It's the type of project now where unless you are doing it, you mess it up. You know what I mean?
Well, so to go back, and obviously this lockdown, you could look at it in one or two ways, and you're obviously a positive thinking guy, Chris. You're looking at the glass being half full rather than half empty. Yeah. I know it's given you an opportunity to recharge your batteries and stuff as well, but this has probably allowed you to put that planning into place, which maybe you haven't in the past with other things as well. Do you think that's right?
Oh, definitely. And it's funny because Greg especially, I got a couple of people, right, who I know read me like a book, and Greg is one of them. Mm-hmm. And I play along with it, but I don't think Greg and some of the other people give me enough. I've been drawing out the gym in Cumdee for probably about 18 months.
Yeah.
Just scribbling it down. Like I said, I do play along with it because it suits me sometimes for people to think that I am this organised and just doing it on a bit of a whim. But it's not the case. Especially with this project, especially with something I'm so passionate about. I know that I'm going to be up to my neck in it, and unless it is right, it'll probably be the end of me. This project in particular, has been well thought out. And don't get me wrong, there's always little bits and pieces that you sort of but in terms of the functioning of the gym, I have planned this to what I think is perfection in terms of the layout, the flow, what I'm delivering. I'm not compromising on any of the standards in terms of the finish in the changing rooms. I've got the best tenants involved, for the barbers, the beauty, the sunbeds, the MMA, obviously the boxing, the cafe. I feel really good about it. Lots of people say to me, "Are you nervous?" And I can honestly say I'm genuinely not nervous because
I know it's right.
I put some thought into it, and the team that I've got as well. If we can't pull this off, then I don't think anybody can.
Fair.
So when's the gym looking to open? I know that obviously there was talk about it in May and then June, then the lockdown came, which has probably been a blessing really for you, because you can get tradesmen in when probably they won't not going to be working on the bigger sites, are they?
No, and that was, you know, in my head I'm saying, because of where my kit is turning up, which is looking like middle of August.
Right.
I am saying end of August, beginning of September. I think that's a realistic, you know, in terms of the build, if we stepped on the gas now, we could probably get it done in 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But we're sort of edging our bets. You know, we don't want to be, you know, too sort of far in advance and then not have any kit to open with. So, you know, it's from a business point of view, and I know it's a terrible thing which has happened with coronavirus and stuff, but it is worked to our advantage in this case. Like.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
And there are some businesses that have flourished under lockdown, us being 100% being one of them, yours being another, and there's only been a very few businesses which has used this really as a positive. You can just sit there and dwell about it and just think, what are we going to do for the next 3 months? Because you've got existing members as well, Chris, you've got to think of, and you've got to got to give content too. So do you want to talk about like the kind of content that you put out for your customers on a daily basis?
Yeah, like when lockdown, you know, I knew it was coming, like, you know, because, you know, you could see which way things were happening. Obviously, we've been to Italy skiing, and, you know, it was just a case of, it was almost a matter of, like, when it was going to get locked down. And Kirsty took a photo of me where I was in the kitchen. I had the laptop on the worktop. I was sitting on a chair, so I was like this, and I was listening to Boris Johnson. And when he said about it, I just thought, oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm just started the biggest project of my life.
Yeah.
I've got a cracking business in Northampton Lane, which is sort of like turning over money and keeping the cash flowing and all the rest of it. And now it's just like no arguments. It's not like, are we going to open on the sly and like do, you know, some of the stuff which I've done in the past. It was like, right, boom, this is serious. This is, and like, you know, I'll hold my hands up. Like, I was upset, mind. I was genuinely upset because I thought, what is the chances of a global pandemic kicking off just as we were about to embark on such a sort of big project? But, you know, as always, Greg, you know the score, mate. Like, when my back's against the wall, that's when I'm best. And that was an announcement on the Friday. On the Sunday, I did my first live workout to keep in line with the timetable, because normally, obviously, we have an ab class on a Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, and I started straight with a bang. We were the first ones to sort of like jump on that, and we put a timetable together, and we were offering a minimum 3 classes every day, and the reaction has been absolutely phenomenal. Like, you know, I've been speaking to one of the finance guys today, and like, he just can't get his head around. Like, I was sending him some WhatsApp pictures of some of the views and the reach we were having on some of the videos, and like, you know, he was just in shock. He said, like, I can't believe we've had such a good sort of reaction. And I said, you know, to be honest, nor can I really. It far exceeded what I thought was going to happen, and you know, that's a credit to the team and obviously the following. And I hope that we sort of tapped into a new market again, like, you know.
I'd imagine you have. As it goes, I looked at your 10 a.m. this morning, and you had about 120 people viewing. Which 10 o'clock on a weekday for a fitness class, 120 people watching it. It's fucking insane, mate.
Yeah, and like, you know, I honestly, Greg, you know this for me, and like, you know me well. Like, you know that I don't look into stuff like that. Like, you know, I just do it. Like, you just told me that. That's the first I knew of that.
Yeah.
That's not my agenda, despite what people might think. It's not, like, you know, it's a job. I would never, you know, be doing it for anything other than just, you know, that's my responsibility to my members.
Yeah.
And, you know, I made that clear from the start. I said, look, we're not going to be freezing new memberships. We want you to try and support us if you can. We understand if you can't.
Yeah.
We've lent out thousands and thousands of pounds worth of equipment. But in the same breath, you know, we are going to offer you as much value as you could possibly get at this time. And, you know, I have had the odd message, a little bit RC, saying, oh, how come I'm still paying when the gym isn't open? And I said, well, I have explained from the start, this is why it's open. It's because we're doing a split routine every day of the week. We're doing a family workout at 10. We're doing a traditional sort of funky pump style workout. We're doing yoga sessions. We're doing light sessions. We're doing weekend sessions. You know, like if you can get it elsewhere, then I totally understand. Or if you don't think that's of value, like I honestly understand everybody is in different circumstances. But as a business, I needed to make a decision that I couldn't just hope that people were going to maintain their membership. Like, we haven't got like a massive financial backer. We're not a corporate gym. We're not a commercial gym. No, we didn't really have any choice. So that's why I made that decision to say, right, okay, we can't do it that way. We're going to have to do it this way.
Yeah.
And I hope you support us. And, you know, I'm over the moon, mate. And that's why I'm fixing my existing members' prices in the next 12 to 18 months. Like.
Good. So that's something nice to give back to the members as well. So in terms of, like you said, you're not much of a numbers man. I know you're not really, but have you noticed the growth of the page since this lockdown started?
Oh, big time. Yeah, it really has. And like, you know, just the fact that like, honestly, like me and Kirsty, like in the car sometimes, and like a message will come through, and like I will say, this lockdown has I see some awful stuff on Facebook now. You know, just like, you know, to the point where if it wasn't for the business, I'd probably come off Facebook.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, I have had some of the best, nicest messages I've ever had.
Yeah.
Since this has started. I've had people messaging me saying, Chris, I want your bank details now. I'm putting money in your account. What you've done. I'm not a member. I want to join up when you open up your thing. You know, they've gone out of their way to send me a message. And we're not talking like one or two people. It's probably like between 10 and 15 different people have said, Chris, can we contribute? You know, we love what you're doing. You know, can we support you? You know, we think it's fantastic. You know, how much the passion and the consistency and the routine that you've been able to maintain your members. And it's little things like that which, you know, make it worthwhile. Like, I know, and I know it sounds a little bit cheesy, but like it really is, because we were, no, I don't want to use the word desperate, but it was desperate times. And like, you know, when you have those type of messages, it makes it worthwhile, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Yeah. Of course it does. And Dave, the only businesses that are going to thrive and succeed in times like this are the ones that diversify and look at different ways of providing their loyal customers. Because your customer base is fantastically loyal. You've got to say that for this part of the world. You know what I mean? It's like, I bet you couldn't walk up to anybody in Swansea and mention Funky Pump and they wouldn't either go there themselves or know people who go there. Right? That's where it sits.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, it's like a household name, I would say now. Around
absolutely.
Here. And, you know, I love it, like, and the sort of the community side of it in terms of, like, not how vocal they are, like, in a bad way, but like, you know, private messages, which I get, you know, I think people feel comfortable to message me, you know, as the owner, like, there's a face to it, isn't it? And I think that, you know, they send me a message, oh, Chris, what's this, what's that? And, like, I love it. Like, you know, don't get me wrong. It is hard sometimes because it is at the moment, especially, I'm getting so many messages about the new gym. But that is part and parcel of what, you know, we do. Like, so I was talking to Charlie Morgan, you know, with AU podcast.
He's another one that's made hay when the sun has shone, really, haven't he, with his brand?
And you know, obviously, he said to me, he said, Chris, you know, he's not a funky bumper by any means, but like he said, I love what you've done. He said, and the words he used, he said, you know, any business which is flexible and willing to, you know, react to circumstances like this will do well. And, you know, you know, it's been good, mate. And it's something which I'm probably going to continue doing after lockdown as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question as well, because you're probably going to have a big following from people, and we've seen it from people not from Swansea listening to our streams all the time, and they are loyal. They're on every single stream for every single DJ all of the weekend. So you're probably getting the same people from all over the country, all over the world, really, which are just digesting your content, really.
There's one guy. He's out in I think he's in Bahrain, and he, like, you know, he's so consistent with the sessions. And, like, you know, I don't know him. He's sending me messages, like, and, you know what I'm like, Greg, I'm just envisaging a funky pump out in Bahrain. Well, in fact, it is definitely going to happen. Like, so that's the next one.
Can I come and open it? I usually open your gyms up for you, don't I? Yeah. Right. So going back to, obviously, and we will bring this all together, the gym and obviously music. But what got you into music in the first place, Chris?
What got me into music, right? And this, like, I knew you were obviously going to ask this, and I knew that we were going to talk about it, right? And it's like, it was a mad, now I'm looking back at it, obviously I've sussed it out, but at the time I didn't know, because I didn't know what house music was, because I don't think it was really as labelled as it is now, because like before Defected, everything was, this is house, blah, blah, blah. Like, it wasn't a thing as much, was it?
No.
It actually, in fact, it was probably funky house, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, I was probably about 16 and started going into town, and I was in college with a load of boys who were like full-on rugby boys: Paul Griff, Mayo, Timmy Evans, Danji. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right?
you know them, yeah.
We, like proper, like loads of pints up the rugby club or whatever, into town, into Ritzy's, and then kebab on the way home, and it was that type of sort of night, like, and I loved it, like, me, Griff, Dance, we've had some of the best times ever, and it was amazing. But then I don't know, I just always, I like the dancing, like, I mean, I know it sounds a bit thing because people don't dance anymore, do they shuffle, like. And then you know James Arnold as well.
Yeah.
So James Arnold was, out of my schoolmates, he was always the one that was like, when we were young, he was always the first one to do everything, basically.
Yeah.
So he said to me, should we go to Escape? So I was like, yeah, come on in, we'll go to Escape. At like 16, 17, he's like, right, you can't wear jeans, you've got to wear shoes, you can't wear trainers, you've got to wear trousers. It was like, I was a bit like spun out. Like, I used to like my Lacoste trainers, you like bootcut jeans, your polo shirt, that was more of the thing. Yeah. So anyway, we started going, and like we turned up, and like we were obviously so young, we didn't really know what was what. And we went in room 1, went in room 2. It was a little bit sort of, I don't know, not really knowing what was going on. We didn't really appreciate the music, but we went there because it was something different. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what it was. I can't remember. It was a particular song or whatever. I just got hooked to room 2.
Right.
And then that was it. And then what I started doing, and it sounds a little bit sad in a way, but like, I loved it so much, Greg. I used to go out with all the boys. I go to Ritzy's. Well, I think it just turned over to Time and Envy then. And I used to go over to Escape on my own.
Yeah.
Because, and I didn't know what the music was, but I could just remember walking in there. It was so exciting. Everyone was dressed up to the nines.
Yeah.
All the women looked like a different level in terms of like, class. They looked after themselves. They were like, didn't have cowboy hats on and like fluffy boots and stuff. It was, they were all short.
Well, they may have in room 1, but not in room 2.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I think in room 2, and it was just the music, mate. And like, obviously, looking back now, I can like fully appreciate it. It was Clifford and Byrne that sort of set the tone for that. Yeah. And I think that was really it. And then obviously, I used to walk in there and I was thinking, what is this? Like, I was thinking, how does it sound so different to what we've just been listening to in Time and Envy? And like, without knowing what the sort of the genre was, I could just feel that I'd sort of like got into something. And Arnold was the same, Jack, Justin, Stockton, and we had a big group of boys that we were all just into that music massively, like, and it was just an amazing, exciting time, like you can't believe, like,
Yeah, well, that's where we met, really, wasn't it? Those times, and I had the flat, and I can remember you coming over, and you boxed, didn't you? And that's how we kind of hit it off, really, because we were talking about boxing, and that's where we got that connection. I was a garage boy, on a house boy, but yeah, that's where we got that connection. So, it's probably a tough question, this is, Chris, but do you remember your first nightclub gig that you went to? you couldn't wait for, you looking forward to? I know you just went to Escape because obviously Escape was just the end thing to do, but can you remember your first like actual house gig that you went to?
You know, like, and I think we were sort of spoilt when we were going for it, Greg, because
Absolutely.
we had, like, you know, when I look at like Dylan and Jamie and all the boys now, they go away to big events.
Yeah.
We had big events most months on our doorstep.
Yeah.
And that was the difference. It's like, you know, looking back, we had Sonique. We had, like, I used to love the garage nights, Hartford Dodger. I remember going to the Palace for Lonya.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Nigel Benn was in there, Norman J. You know, all these amazing sort of DJs. Like, and it wasn't really anything out of the ordinary. So, you know, like, whereas someone might remember going to see Carl Cox up in, I don't know, Tobacco Dock or whatever.
Yeah.
We had the, you know, Miss Moneypennies. It was just week after week. Every week, I was like physically so excited to go to Escape because it was these big sort of DJs, and the fact that Clifford and Byrne and yourselves downstairs, like sometimes, because I was smashed, I couldn't decide which room I wanted to be in anyway. So I'd always like sort of drift back to room 2, but then obviously all you lot were in downstairs. But then my guilty pleasure was going into room 1 as well, like, you know.
You kept that quiet for a while, didn't you?
To get his top off, wasn't it? To get his top off and have a bit of a sweat. Like.
But I always remember, I ended up in there once, and you know that song, singing a song, said forever, dun dun dun, and dun 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 dun. You know that one?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I've gone in now anyway, and I'm in a huddle with about 6 Royders. And I was just thinking, like, you know, they all had their tops off, sweating all over me. And, you know, it was a total contrast from, you know, the sort of how cool everyone was in room 2.
Yeah.
But it was just energy, and everyone was just enjoying themselves, wasn't they? And it's, it was just a crazy little place, wasn't it, for those sort of like 5-10 years or whatever we were in there. Like.
So, yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things as well about clubbing, what attracts a lot of people to clubbing, especially from the experience that you've said there, Chris, is that you go there and there's no pretenses. It's not like when you go to Ritzy's. I don't want to criticise these places, but they are pretty much meat markets to a certain extent.
Yeah.
For a lot of the people that go there, people who go clubbing, that's not what they go in there for at all, is it? They go in there purely for the music, the atmosphere, and because of the family that they've kind of created within the room that they choose to go to. So that's the big difference between it.
You know, I've said this. I think I said this story on Paddy and Ryan's podcast, right? There was a girl in Escape, and I used to go in. We'd all used to go to get clobbered up in the day on a Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, like Dan, John, Greg, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What was the shop in the arcade? I've slipped my mind now.
Tempo.
Go to Tempo. You buy a shirt, you buy a pair of trousers, maybe. You'd all have your Frank Wright shoes on.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be in the corridor in between room 1 and room 2. You'd see everybody you knew. It was such a buzz. But everyone was really smart, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you weren't even allowed to wear jeans. And there was a girl there that I never even used to speak to. But I just used to always stand by her and dance. And, like, you know, like we'd all, you know, like give each other a nod and, you know, smile. And, like, I never said more than 2 or 3 words to her. Like, you know, like all the pleasantries and stuff. But I'd probably say it was about, I don't know, probably across 18 months. Because I used to find this little spot where there's a load of air conditioning. And I'd stay there because it was nice and cool. And I'd just, like, listen to music. She'd be right next to me. You know, like, there was nothing like that in terms, you know, it was not about that. It was all about the music. And I always remember, she wasn't particularly smart at all. But she was just a cool dancer. And just, you know, you could just tell she was in there.
She had the right vibe. The right vibe, didn't it?
Seen her again in my life. I mean, I wouldn't even recognise her if I saw her again. But it sort of summed the whole place up, wasn't it? That you were all just there for that, like, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was brilliant, like, you know. And, you know, when Greg asked me to come on, I was thinking about it. But that sort of overwhelming feeling, I can remember when I walked in upstairs into Escape on my own, thinking, right, whatever is going on in here, this is what it's all about, like, you know?
Yeah. It was it's like a religion, isn't it?
I was. I expect it would be exactly where you knew you would be.
Yeah, everybody had their own spots, didn't they?
Yeah, everyone had their own spot. But I think that it's funny though, because obviously I think because Clifford and Bird sort of like had such a big influence on me, I think there was more the garage nights that I remember as occasions.
Yeah.
You know, like the Artful Dodger and stuff up in
Palace
at the time.
Yeah.
Twice as nice. You know, all the big gigs in Cardiff Ice Rink. Vision 2K was some good nights.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was because we tended to go to them because they were more like an act, weren't they? Do you know? Because they tended to be like, you know, obviously the MCs and stuff.
Yeah.
We would sort of act for that type of stuff rather than obviously with the house DJs. You were sort of spoiled for choice a little bit in Swansea anyway, like, you know?
Yeah. We used to do those road trips all the time. Then we coach used to go up.
Yeah, and it was brilliant. Like, you know, it was so good. It was, but I think as well, like, you know, like thinking back to Ibiza, I think because we heard a lot of the songs that were coming out for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, you know, like some of the classic songs now, I still love them to bits. But I've probably heard them, I don't know, 200-300 times. Like, when you think back to some of those songs you hadn't heard before, and you're like, oh my God, what is this? Like, do you mean?
Yeah.
And that was I think that was probably the most exciting part about it. You know?
So, did you ever buy records or compilations or anything like that, Chris?
Mate, I did, yeah, because I was thinking about this again because I had a friend from school, Rodri Evans, and he had he had turntables because that's what was, you know, there was no CDs then.
Yeah.
And we used to go to HMV, and we used to buy records, but we could, you know, he had the deck, so it was played in his house, so we'd be in his house, and I'm talking probably, we must have been like 12, 13, 14 at that time.
Yeah.
You know, like David Morales, you know, Need a New is the one that sticks in my mind because of the case that it was in, like, you know, but it was such a brightly coloured thing. And, you know, but again, not really knowing what we were getting into.
Yeah.
And I think that was the sort of, looking back, that was cool. But I sort of wish now I knew what we were tapping into because we just loved it, like, and we'd play it over and over and over again. But we didn't really know what it was.
Right.
That's
what I mean.
Yeah, that's kind of ahead of your time kind of stuff, that is, because Happy Hardcore came out after that, didn't it? Which is what everybody loved. So you're kind of ahead of your time then when it comes to the house music scene.
Oh, like, and you know, like, you don't like think about it, do you? Because you know, it's part of what you.
It just happens, doesn't it?
It happens, yeah. And like, but like, I didn't tap into that Happy Hardcore at all. It just wasn't my scene. Like, it was definitely like, you know, went down the sort of like the soulful stuff and Defected when it sort of first kicked off and started being popular. You know, like Masters at Work, Soul Heaven, like Sonny Fodera, you know, just all those type of people.
Yeah.
You know, and I just messaged Bevo now. I said, look, I'm going to be on Greg's podcast tonight. Like, what can I talk about and what can't I? And he said, look, nothing really. Like, so just don't talk, don't mention me because he's got a really good job now, and I don't want to mess it up for him. Like, to be honest.
So unnamed accomplice is going to be we're going to have to call him something else, Chris.
Yeah, well, no, I don't know. I won't, obviously, nothing to incriminate him, but like, he was a big influence on me. And you say about you know, like buying records and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, Rodri Evans was my sort of like really good mate in school. Me, Arnold, Justin, and Jack and stuff, we didn't really do that. Like, we just used to act, like, I think we just had the CDs. It was at the age where, like, 16, 17, just started passing tests and stuff. So we had, you know, it was all about, like, playing music on the CDs in the car, innit?
Yeah.
But I remember Hustlers Volume 3 on a cassette and rewinding it back to the best bits and then playing it again and stuff. And that was, you know, I'd love to dig that one out from somewhere, like, you know.
I think Cliff's been putting them digital, hasn't he? He's been digitising them and sticking them online, I think.
Yeah, and to be honest, just right, like one day I will try and get all this together because, like, you know, I was just really into it, but I didn't have a laptop, I didn't even have a computer, like, you know, and it was, you know, I just rely on someone giving me the CDs and all the rest of it. And
Sure.
Bevo was brilliant in that sense because, like, Greg knows he's got a lovely family and stuff, and like in his bedroom he'd have it all set out, he'd have all the CDs, and he'd come out with it, and we'd be so excited to have a new CD.
Yeah.
We just literally drive around listening to the music, and he'd give me, and this probably leads on really to the connection between the music and the funky pump.
Okay.
I was running a fitness class in Port Talbot, and you know, I was literally probably having between 3 and 6 people in there, but it was all about the music. And all I cared about was having this new CD every week, and as long as the CD was good, like, I was in my element. And I think, like, that sort of like maintain, you know, when you're having 3 or 6 people, it's not exactly you know, setting the world on fire, but that wasn't really my passion. I just liked listening to the music and the classes, and that's how I think it led on from there, really, to be fair.
Awesome. So what would you say that your best or your standout night is, Chris, or DJ set?
You know, and again, I can tell you exactly what it was. It was a night called Retro in Eden, in Ibiza. Right. Can you remember that, Just?
Yeah, I can.
I think it was Paul Taylor on the decks, and I think that was what sort of, you know, again, it's easy to say it now because you're looking back and you understand the genres and stuff. Yeah. And I think it was so vocal and like soulful.
Yeah, it was almost disco-y, wasn't it? This kind of stuff that they were doing there, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was like, you know, and I can just remember thinking this is the best set of music I've ever played. And don't get me wrong, like, you know, there's been so many, isn't there? But, you know, if I think about one which I actually think, you know what, that was amazing, that one sort of sticks in my mind. But maybe because I was so young and it had such a big influence on me. Like, we went to a cracking night last year in Amnesia.
Right.
And that was really good. But that was a Clockwork Orange night.
Okay.
So again, probably a lot of the tracks, which were a little bit sort of older. And it was amazing because obviously Kirsty's a lot younger and she was up on the stage. And, you know, just watching her sort of like absolutely loving it. It just goes to show that the music back then is probably the best music.
It's timeless, isn't it?
It's timeless.
Yeah. So, yeah, and no, I again, I'll say it again. The nights in the Palace are memorable because, like, I've just got such a clear image of Lonya being on stage.
Yeah.
Their white suits.
Yeah, I can remember that.
And like, especially as such a young boy in that club, which you know, it was edgy as fuck, wasn't it?
It was different because obviously it was predominantly a black club, wasn't it? There was a lot of black people in there, and Swansea at the time weren't as multicultural.
No, it wasn't.
And it was kind of new to everybody, wasn't it? But we all embraced it. We loved it because we used to go, well, I played there and I used to go every week for like 3-4 years, how long it was open, really. But yeah, we all embraced it, but it was different to what we were used to. And that's why people thought that it was clicky and it was edgy, but they were all brilliant.
But that is, again, you know, with all this stuff which is so out there at the moment with the, you know, the racing, like, it's sort of testament to, like, you know, your boys, my boys, none of us give a monkeys who was in there.
No.
We just wanted to go because the music was just, like, I remember I was in there, like, and the music had turned off and still dancing.
Yeah.
Justin said to me, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just cooling down." Like, you know, we just had such a good night. It was just, it was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I think the atmosphere that place created was different to everywhere else as well. It was kind of like
they had metal detectors as you walked in, and that was unheard of, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's always a good start to your night, isn't it? If you think I'm going into a bar with metal detectors. So what's the most random gig you've been to, Chris?
What, official gig or
doesn't matter. No, the more random, the better.
Well, I mean, you know, like for years and years, it was like the most random gig. I don't know, like you know, we was doing them week in, week out with me. You know, I've like Ed Kerno has done some proper random ones. Like we went out to Norway and like mid set, he turned the decks off, so I was just standing behind the decks with no music on. That was pretty random. Like. I don't know. I think, you know, we've done some of our own events, which looking back, we were like right out there. Like when we basically, we didn't break into a unit, but we sort of like, there was a unit up in Cardiff, which we sort of like decided that we were going to use and put on a massive event in there. That was really random. Like, and the fact that it was obviously like an illegal sort of event. And then you had the likes of Joe Calzaghe and all the big bar owners from Cardiff turning up to it, sort of like made it even more random. The fact that like we didn't even know whose unit it was, and we were you know, like having a flat out party in there, boxing show, selling beer, having a rave, and like who knows whose unit it was, like, you know, totally got away with it. But I don't know, it's probably too many situations to think of. Like couple of boat parties in London, which were pretty random, you know, after nights out, you know, being on the Thames at like 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning and, you know, doing stuff like that. I've had some, I tell you, I know exactly what the most random one was.
I knew we'd get that.
Here we go. Right.
Me and Bev had been to the End in London.
Yeah.
And it was New Year's Day. It was a New Year's Day gig, and we went up, and I remember I worked on the door New Year's Eve, and obviously I wasn't drinking, and you know, because we were going out on New Year's Day, which at the time, like New Year's Day is a big thing now, but back then, like New Year's Eve was the one.
Yeah.
So it seemed a bit weird on New Year's Day going up to London. The roads were absolutely dead, and we went up to the End, went in there with his cousin John Paul, and who is probably I would say he is the original sort of house DJ from Swansea. Greg, would you say?
I don't know who he is.
John Paul Kennedy.
Yeah, John Paul Kennedy.
Yeah, he's a couple of years older than me in Alpha. He was.
Yeah.
Good footballer as well. Very good footballer, John.
Good footballer. And like he had a
bastard as well.
He had a record shop in Croydon.
That's it.
And you know Daniel Bedingfield now.
Yeah.
He recorded that, you know, the famous track, I got to get through this in there.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was a massive face up in London at the time. So we went up and we were staying with him, and we went to the End, got absolutely smashed, ended up going back to a party. He said, there's a party in Brick Lane in London. So we're going down Brick Lane. And like I was just walking down Brick Lane, there's like nothing happening. It's New Year's Day, like, you know, or the day after New Year's Day maybe. Like nothing's open. And we come to this like patisserie, and they're like, it's in there. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, it's in there. So like we walked in, the sort of like display cabinet. It's there, full of baguettes and coffee and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, no, this is obviously not the place. So, you know, it's a bit like, you know, like walking down Picton Arcade, going into one of those cafes, going out the back of their fire exit, going through like a double doors, like a little bit of a cavity, and then another set of double doors. And then next you know, we are just in the most bonkers rave you've ever seen in your life. Just full of Italians, Russians, just the most like fucked up place I've ever been in. And in the end, I actually said to her, I got to get out of here. Like, I mean, about 1.5 days later, there was people like walking around, like, you know, like Mr. Soft from the advert, the soft advert. I was like, right, enough's enough. We gotta go. Like, so I would say that's probably one of the most sort of out there type of places we've been like.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair to say.
Yeah, that's fair to say. So, where's the best venue you've ever been for music?
You know, that is absolutely one word answer. Skate, without a doubt, in its prime. I don't think, you know, obviously we never ever been to the, you know, in the heyday of the sort of raves, like in, I know places like Doncaster and stuff, but I think Escape has got to be up there purely for atmosphere. Like I'd be gutted if I needed to go to the toilet, like, you know, because I didn't want to go to the toilet if the music was that good. apart from that, you know, I got a massive soft spot for Ibiza, as you know, and I do like Pasha.
Yeah.
Not that fussed on Amnesia, I got to be honest. I think it's just a little bit like, bit too big and a bit too, like, you know, manufactured.
Yeah.
I like DC-10. But I've sort of grown to like the days now, you know, just the sort of the day stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Bora Bora, we've had some good days on. But yeah, I don't think anything comes close. Maybe because of that time in my life, that's where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
You know, Ushuaia is good, you know, but like, again, it's just sort of like, I liked it when it was all underground, like, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of pretentious in Ushuaia.
Well, Ibiza's changed its policy in a lot of ways from because probably end of the 90s, early 2000s, it was about British clubbers going out there. You didn't have to have thousands and thousands of pounds, and it wasn't about look at me, I got a bottle of Cristal or whatever I'm doing. It was about the music, and then all of a sudden it became the playground for the rich and famous, wasn't it? You only have to look in Ibiza Harbour and see the yachts that are there, right?
Yeah.
Mental money and stuff like that, and it has become an exclusive thing now as well. Whereas that really wasn't the idea of the scene, was it? The idea of the scene was completely different.
And like you said, I actually stopped going for about 3 years because I can remember the music changed as well.
Yeah.
And it went from being like funky house and garage, because if you remember, Greg, like El Divino had some good garage nights on.
Yeah.
And the funky house sort of went and it started drifting towards house. And I think that, like, don't get me wrong, I love it again now, but there was a little spell where I wanted into the music.
Yeah.
And I remember the sort of I think it must have been about, I reckon about 2005, 2006. And Azuli had quite a big presence over there.
Yeah, they did,
time. And that was the last type of music then that I, like, you know, I loved that.
Yeah.
But then it sort of, I could sort of take it or leave it then for a year or two. And then I sort of fell back in love with it then a couple of years later. And as well, I think my life moved in a different direction with the gym and, you know, with boxing and stuff like that. So you couldn't really do the both, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly right.
You're either training for a fight or you're fighting. That's the way it was, wasn't it?
Exactly.
So it probably fits in well here. But so you've obviously building a new gym. The Funky Pump Room is heavily Ibiza influenced. So can you tell us about what you're doing really in that room? What Ibiza influences are going in the gym and the production as well as going into it?
And like, you know, the room itself now, it's even a couple of changes since me and you last spoke. I'm actually moving things about a bit, and hopefully by tomorrow we'll have some of the stuff in place. So, like, you know, like you, as you can probably guess, Ibiza has influenced me so big. Like, it's just such a big part of my life, like in terms of the music and, like, you know, even just like the memories of, like, you know, that I've had with my friends and stuff. So, like, I just felt as if I needed to sort of like have a tip of the hat to that. So the room itself now is only going to have one bit of artwork in it,
right,
behind the instructor, and that's quite like a relevant, you know, like sort of thought. You know, the words are my house is your house and your house is mine, which everybody knows. And I know, like, I want that, you know, that's how I feel about it as well. You know, like, I want people to come in there, you know. Funky Pump has always been like, you know, I don't consider it my gym, it's our gym, it's the members' gym. You know, the instructors, the DJs, you know, Kerry's basically lived down there for the last, you know, what is mine is everybody else's. And I thought that sort of saying, like, fitted in really well. We've got the Ibiza wall then on the biggest wall going through the gym, with all the clubs really. And, like, you know, I was conscious of putting like S Paradis, Eden. You know, they're probably not the most fashionable clubs now, but at the time, you know, they have. I've had some of the best nights I've ever had in there. Like, you know, so I wanted to sort of remember them, and it's not all like, I haven't put Ocean Beach Club up there because for me, like, when I think of Ibiza, I you know, I love to go to Ocean Beach Club, but that is not the Ibiza that I fell in love with and influenced me at all. Yeah. So that's not on there. No, if I had more space, I would have put it on, but I didn't, and that was the one that I wanted to not be on there. And so that is, the lighting rig. Johnny Griffiths, you both know, has had a massive input in that. So we're going to keep it like quite clinical in terms of it's going to be the lighting, it's going to be that sort of logo, and then it's going to be the music. And I think yesterday I sorted out the sound system, so it's going to be banging.
Happy days.
Yeah, that would be good. So in terms of gym, we'll stick on the gym for a little bit, and it's probably changed a little bit within this lockdown. But the gym for a while went a little bit techie, didn't it? Because obviously techie was the in sound.
Yeah.
Do you think that, especially during this lockdown and the amount of people who's watching house streams, the house music's making a massive comeback?
Yeah, I do. And I think as well, like, I don't even think it's a comeback. I think because, you know what? If everyone was honest, everyone loves it.
Yeah.
But, and, like, a little bit, I suppose, where, like, you almost become a bit of a music snob.
Yeah.
And I probably became a little bit of a music snob when I first got into house music, because I used to go up and spend time with my family up in London, and like we'd be in a bar and I'd be like, come on, let's go somewhere, we'll play some funky house. Like all I really wanted to listen to was funky house at the time.
Yeah.
And anything else then I thought was like not shit, but like I wasn't really interested in doing it. And you get that impression a little bit with this sort of next generation of people that are into the tech, where they're almost mugging off where it all come from in the first place. Like,
yeah.
And, it's, a lot of the stuff they're doing is a remix of stuff which is there, but just with that sort of that tech sort of vibe and the beat in it, which I think it needed to do because it was going to run its course quite quickly otherwise.
Yeah.
Unless they did sort of adapt it to the masses, which I feel they have done quite quickly. And, it just makes people, as soon as you hear a vocal and stuff, that people react to that. Like I say to all the DJs in Funky Pop, I say, chuck some vocals in, instantly recognizable vocals. People will be like, nudge their mate next to them, and they'll react to that song. And that's how it works,
Yeah. So what direction do you see the music? Because you are quite strict with you when it comes to the music policy in the gym. What direction can you see it going now in the new gym? Have you got like a feel or a vibe for it that you want to go down?
The thing is, Greg, right? Like, I am strict with it because I'm a big believer in stick to the plan, and that is what works. So don't try and be clever. Don't try and like be too sort of you've got crowd pleasers. I love it when you hear it. Like some of the stuff, like like Cola when it first came out.
Yeah.
Like it was a new track, but it was absolutely nailed on for Funky Pump, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It had a sort of big build up, and it worked so well. So in the first instance, it was something exciting and new. Now, it's one of the probably 50 tracks which if you chucked it on, you just know it's a winner. Do you know what I mean?
A showstopper.
And that, it's a showstopper, and like it goes the same with Downpipe, Delirium, Beach Ball, all those songs. Like we've all heard them loads and loads of times, but they're not going to let you down, are they? No. So the music policy is don't try and be too clever. Keep it uplifting, keep it vocal, and people will enjoy. And when people are enjoying, I'm sure the DJs enjoy because the instructor is enjoying as well.
Yeah. And you do feed off each other a lot. They do go hand in hand. Obviously, I've been. Well, I don't even know how long I've been working in Funky Pop. It's got to be 10 years, 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. And it, mate. Like sometimes you drop a tune and I think, fucking hell, fair play. Like, I mean, that's a gutsy shout, but it works because, especially in a band class where you can probably get away with it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But because you get a reaction out of it, don't you?
I'll always chuck a bass line over a vocal that's already in.
Yeah.
And especially if it's a new tune and I want to break that new tune, so I like the bass line behind it. Yeah. Which if I just chucked it in the sound, it wouldn't work. But if I make sure I chuck it over a vocal, you're just disguising it then, and you're bringing it in slowly and you're breaking it slowly, and that's pretty much what I've always done, really.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. I don't think, there's so many good songs out there. Like me, Dylan, Kerry, Gemma, we all say if we were DJs, we would probably nail the sets every single time, like, because you know what, like, people want, and like, we've done it enough now to know what works, and it's just like, we got an amazing team of DJs as well. Like, and I genuinely love the mix up, because I do like the techie stuff now that Jamie plays. You know how much I sort of like your sets, like, and how much, Nicky Kershaw I think is good. Ed Kernow for me is probably my all-time favorite because of this sort of like the style that, the drive-in sort of house that he plays, but with the vocal, it's like, it's it sort of suits the class really well. But yeah,
is he making a comeback to the classes? Because his musical career, he just fades in and fades out all the time, doesn't he? And I've said that quite a lot in the interviews. Is he on it now?
He seems to be on it, like, and it's like, honestly, I would say, like, he's probably one of the boys who I've had some of my best memories with, in terms of music, because we've had so much fun over the years. Like, I'll tell you a quick story. We were what were we doing now? Why were we going to London? We were going to London for some reason anyway. And I think we were going, that's right. It was on a Sunday night, which is always a bit risky with Ed, because there's always the potential that he could have fucked it up on a Saturday, isn't there? And he had fucked it up on a Saturday.
All right, okay.
So I'm starting on the lager now. It must
Here
be.
we go.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're going down to London now, and he's got a gig in an Abercrombie and Fitch staff party, right? So it's all models up in London. I can't remember what area it was. Peter Sheaf and Di Sheaf had put it on. He booked Ed to do it, and I picked him up, and he was absolutely smashed. Right, it was me, Jason, Ryan, and Ed, and he was just in a when he's absolutely hammered, you can just tell, can't you?
Yeah.
So we got down to London now, drinking all the way down there. We were all sort of like bang up for it, and then Ed has just hit the wall, and he's just like a mess in the corner, just dribbling, like, belly hanging out, just like. Bear in mind now, we're in an Abercrombie and Fitch party. It's full of models and all these beautiful people up in London, but it's a little bit stiff.
Yeah.
So Di Sheaf or Peter Sheaf has come up to me and gone, Chris, you've got to get him up. He's on next. And I was like, look at the state of him. I said, he can't play. And so I'm like, Ed, come on. I said, you're on now. And like, he woke up. He doesn't know what day it is. He's sort of like stumbling around. He's like, where's my CDs? Blah, blah, blah. Give him his CD. Sort of like walked him to the decks, like with his hand over my arm. And I was just thinking, this is going to go tits up. This is like, okay. So next thing you know, he's on the decks, right? And within about 10 minutes, the whole party is just totally transformed. People are up on the tables. There's a photo somewhere of me, Jason, Ryan. Everyone's up, hands in the air. Like, it was just, it was just such a turnaround of, energy in the room. And like, it just sticks in my mind, how he sort of pulled that off. And I just thought, you know what? Like, he is talented in that sense. Like, he just played some amazing tunes, and it just turned into one of the best parties I've ever been to. He just cracked on till about 4 o'clock in the morning, but the whole room did as well.
Yeah.
Like, he engaged the whole room. It was just, everyone was dancing like mad, and it was just brilliant,
It's fucking brilliant. So going back, right, your current Welsh middleweight champion. Middleweight, yeah, it is middleweight, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got some stories about that anyway, how that came about, which is brilliant. I can remember, this was before you won the title. You rang me, didn't you, like lunchtime? Greg, I've just been offered a fight. I said, all right, okay. Who have you been offered the fight? Frankie Bogue was the Welsh middleweight champion in a 4-rounder. He said, what do you think? What do you think? And I hadn't seen Frankie fight. So I said, hang on, you were having a tie at the time, weren't you?
Yeah.
I said, let me have a look at him, and I'll give you a ring back now in about half hour. I give you a ring back about, I can't remember, half hour, 45 minutes. I looked at about 3 or 4 of his fights. And pretty much we came up with a game plan, didn't we, within 10 minutes of how to beat them. So I can remember we jumped up. Oh, it's probably best you tell us, but we jumped in the car. Where did we go on the van? Sorry, where did we go in the van first?
Yeah, well, going back to sort of the start, I trained in the morning.
Yeah.
With John. I was on my way down to Thai, phone call, right, fighting. Phone Greg, basically agreed to take the fight. It was coming up to Christmas time, so the money was coming in handy. And so right, okay, it's on, let's do it. I said, there's only one problem, though. I said, it's my son's Christmas concert. So, like, how am I going to pull this one off? So I phoned my old man, and I was like, right, Dad, I said, look, this is the plan. The fight's in Bristol. Me, Greg, and John are going to go up to Gabe's Christmas concert. We're going to walk in, make sure he sees me in the crowd now, wave to him, and then walk out, basically. So that was the plan. So we drove up to Porthcawl. Gabe's is on the stage singing his song. I walked in, waved at him, made sure he saw me to make sure he knew I was there. As soon as he seen me, I just turned back around, walked back out, and next thing you know, we're on our way down to Bristol for this fight. And it was just bonkers because like he'd beaten Kerry Hope to win the Welsh title, so you know someone who beat him with Darren Barker, you know, a real good sort of like standard, good pro. Just he beat him with Chris Eubank.
I boxed Kerry Hope.
Yeah,
I boxed him 4 times.
Did he really? Yeah. He's still going now, Kerry, isn't he? In fairness,
no, he's retired now.
But is he out in Australia, is he?
No, he's back home now. I think he boxed, what's the Indian guy? Is it the one?
Vajinder Singh, isn't it?
Yeah, he boxed him, and I think he retired after that then. And now he's back home. I'm sure he's back home in Merthyr.
Yeah. I was meant to box Vajinder Singh, mind. And then I was on my way to the airport. And can you remember that ash cloud?
Yeah.
Iceland, wasn't it?
Yeah, we couldn't fly.
That was in Yamchas, is it?
Yeah, in Yamadas, yeah. And yeah, it was, you know, it was in Delhi as well. So like it's not much I regret, but that was one of the things I did. You know, that would have been a hell of an experience to go out and box against him. But
was that the Commonwealth Games? The Commonwealth Games was in Delhi, wasn't it?
It was. I think I was just being flown over for a tune-up for him because he was one of the hot favourites at that time, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And I think I was just cannon fodder at that time for him because they probably knew that I would keep on coming forward and just get the 3 rounds out, like, you know.
Yeah.
But going back to that night with Frank Borg, so we got down to the place. To me, the whole place was full because we turned up late as expected. They asked me to weigh in, and I thought I'd go to a nice little room to weigh in, but no. I had to weigh in front of everybody, literally eating their food in my pants, right by the ring. And I was thinking, fuck's sake, like, you know what I mean? This is, you know, and it wasn't like in Oceania where it's nice and dark and stuff. You go in like leisure centre.
Yeah.
You know, bear in mind, I was probably about 11.5 stone, like soaking wet, like, you know, like all skin and bones, and like all these birds are dolled up and all the rest of it. So me, Greg, and John are in the changing rooms, and everyone's like, "What? He's just come down." Like I don't know, 7-8 hours notice to fight the Welsh champion. And I remember sitting there and Greg was like, how are you feeling? I said, well, my elbow, neck, hip and knee are absolutely fucked. I said, but apart from that, I feel all right. But you know what though, Greg, it's funny because we knew, to me.
Yeah.
I think me and you were probably on the same wavelength because I think John was almost a little bit sceptical about it.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to beat him, and I think you did too.
Yeah, I knew the style that you bring, Chris, and it is a style which is, it's not limited, but it's a style which you have perfected, really, isn't it? Whether you come forward and you throw certain shots, like the uppercut and that cuffing right hand, which is the 2 shots that we talked about, really, that you couldn't miss with. And I said, as long as you keep him at that sort of mid-range, which is what he liked to do anyway, but he was busy. Just cover up, bomb, let you shots go, 2 threes, and then you'd eventually break him down. And that's exactly what happened, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was. And like, you know, I come out with there, like, I don't know, I didn't even take that many shots, and it was, you know,
Yeah.
and obviously that was the fight that sort of set us on the road then for the Welsh title fight, and you know, we know how that went as well, and you know, it was just great, and you know, I loved it, and you know, I apologise to Gabes for missing his Christmas concert, but you know, I had a couple of grand in my pocket after it for Christmas, so it all worked out all right, like, you know.
Yeah, and then how much? Well, when was it? You had a rematch then, didn't you? Because he said he'll never do this over 10 rounds. He'll never do this over 10 rounds. Then you had a rematch, and what was it? 3, 4, 5 months later?
Yeah, well, that was in the December, and the rematch was in the March.
Yeah.
Yeah, same story.
But more conclusive.
Yeah, a little bit more conclusive.
And the shot again, we worked on in the changing rooms.
Yeah.
I can remember John saying that, and it stands out. I said, Chris, I said, throw out, right uppercut was the one who knocked him out with, really, wasn't it? And then you just took him out then with the right hand. And I said, just make that a little bit longer, because I've seen him a few times. He got knocked out, and I can't remember his name is. He was not a bad kid. Danny something his name was. And he was that ball or right uppercut. He just, as soon as he walks forward, his hands up there. I said, he's open for that. Just do that. And the second he lengthened it a little bit, but he was sleeping underneath, to be fair. He wasn't just knocked out, he was sleeping.
I was sort of spoiling my work a little bit, so I had to give myself a bit more distance.
Yeah.
To, like, get that through. And then, and, you know, like, you know, sort of relating it back to the music, like, every time I took Funky Pump, running up to all those fights, I'd be up on the stage and I'd just be running that right hand over the top. You know, like, and like, it was, the music is part of it for me. And I, like, we did the ring tune, you know, the whole thing, like, you know, just all the different lyrics and stuff over the years, all house music, you know, it just played such a big part in the whole setup, like, you know.
So, and that's what I was going to talk about, leading on from the boxing stuff. What was your ring walk music, and why did you choose it?
Yeah, you know, I used to mix it up, because at different periods of your sort of like your life and your career, things sort of hit home, didn't they? And the ring walk for the Welsh title fight was Florence and the Machines, which is a massive funky pump tune. Because, you know, I've had so many good sessions in Funky Pump. I think that feeling of, like, you know, just sort of like total energy and, you know, just wanting to go for it, you know, obviously led to that. But I've had some drum and bass stuff, some sort of quite like dark, like not quite so vocal stuff, you know, because at that time, looking back, I probably wasn't that, like, I was probably in a slightly different frame of mind as well, and it was reflected probably in the songs that I chose to walk into the ring, like, you know.
Yeah, but would that reflect your mood or your game plan?
Do you know what, man? Like, who was I talking about? Yeah, no, I think it was on my podcast the other day. I was saying, like, you know, sometimes I didn't even want to be a boxer, though. Like, I wanted to be. My objective was always the gym.
Yeah.
And it probably did reflect my mood and stuff, like, you know, because you know, at sometimes I knew I had to be a boxer, but I knew it would help my business by being a boxer.
Yeah.
And, you know, luckily the music made, you know, that a little bit easier, because I enjoyed the music so much. So, you know, boxing is a massive influence on my business, but it's not as big an influence as the music.
Yeah. What are your top 5 tunes?
Top 5 tunes, I will say, it's like I am a music like lover, like me and Dylan have got like a really good sort of you know, like he's on the same wavelength as me big time when it comes to the tunes. So, like, you know, something like, you know, you can't beat some of the tunes which sort of like made me, I suppose, fall in love with house music, like Delirium and Silence, and then some of the garage tunes like DJ Huck and MC Neat, some of their sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then even some stuff which is not even house but has been reworked and remastered, like you know, like Lovely Day by what's his name, Bob
Bill Withers,
yeah. You know stuff like those tracks, they sort of like stick out to me, But it's too difficult to say, no, because I change my mind every single time. What about you guys? Have you got, like, if someone asked you that, what would you say?
It's tough. Well, when Greg asked me on mine, it is a tough one. I've been buying records for 30 odd years.
I asked you for your favourite, just so you couldn't even name one.
No, well, I said
top 5.
I said Your Love, Frankie Knuckles, Jamie Principle, Your Love, right?
Well, now you said that.
Yeah.
That is probably one of mine as well, because it's just because I think as well the fact that that it was so unique at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Where that comes from, how it was made. The fact that these boys, when they were first started making this stuff, they were getting this equipment from Japanese companies like Roland and stuff like that, and without not knowing how to use them, and just sitting in a studio and playing with them and making that stuff without a thought of how it was going to be. That was just how they learned how to do it. Like Strings of Life by Rhythm is Rhythm. Derek Mace, Rhythm is Rhythm. That's done on systems that he genuinely did not know how to use them when he first walked into that room. And he's learned on the fly, and he's turned out, Strings of Life, you play that anywhere and it goes off, and it does go off.
That's another showstopper, that is.
I played on one of the first lockdown sets I played the original version, Rhythm is Rhythm, Strings of Life, as the last track. And I had a couple of messages after, why didn't you play the vocal version? So I had to send them a message back saying, you do realise this came out 25 years before the vocal version that you're talking about did.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's like, people these days don't realise that, like, how, like, the sort of, like, the history of it maybe. Mm-hmm. And, like, that is, like, I read an amazing article from Simon Dunmore the other day.
Right. Yeah.
And it actually, it was probably the thing that tipped me over the edge to do my podcast.
Right.
Because, and do you know much about Simon Dunmore?
Yeah, follow him. I follow him on social media, and I've followed his career for the last 20 years, really, as well. So,
and, like, he seems to me, like, obviously I don't know him, but he seems quite a ruthless bloke.
Yeah.
And he wrote this. He said, I don't settle for, like, being average, and I will have an opinion on people's sets, but I feel after all this time in the industry as he is, he almost felt as if, like, what he's basically saying was that, like, after that amount of time there, he's got a right to sort of have his own opinion.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily be unfair and horrible or harsh.
Constructive, isn't it?
But just have an opinion. Yeah. And whether some people like that or not is, that's up to them. And I thought, right? Like, you can skirt around so many things these days because of, like, not wanting to offend people and all the rest of it. And it was probably what sort of, I thought, like, I've got really strong opinions on fitness.
Yeah.
I've also backed them up with a lot of experience.
Yes.
Being a professional boxer, dealing with other professional athletes, training people like Shane Williams, Colin Jarvis, Enzo Macanelli, and, like, I feel like, I am going to start talking about fitness and all that type of stuff. And, it was, again, it links me back to the music because it was off the back of something that Simon Dunmore said, who I, obviously, I don't know him or whatever, but, like, I do look up to him. He's got the biggest sort of house brand in the world, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So you spoke about your podcast then, Chris. So plug your podcast. What is it and what it's about for people who haven't heard it before?
Mate, do you know what, right? All it is for me, and it's not even, like, I know I do loads of stuff for, like, self-promotion and stuff. It's not even about that. It is about, after, like, the length of time that I've been doing stuff, it is about finding out about, there's loads of good trainers out there. But sometimes what you find is the person that might look the best or the best social media image or the, I don't know how they come across on social media will be the one that gets recognised.
Yeah.
I sometimes don't think that is fair. And there's some really, really good trainers out there that probably don't get the recognition they deserve because maybe they don't feel comfortable, getting themselves out there.
Yeah. Self-promotion is difficult, isn't it?
It is, yeah. For some people, it is. And, like, of course, like, I know personal trainers who are probably some of the worst I've ever seen in my life. but they are right out there.
Yeah.
And then there's some really, really good ones who don't put themselves out there at all.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, like, you know, I'm just picking up stuff on, like, my last guest now, Mikey Smith. You know, you can just tell he just loves the game, but he's probably not the type of guy to be doing it for the likes and the followers and all the rest of it. And it was just to give people like him a bit of a platform.
He's doing it for the results more than the...
Yeah, and like, you know, you can just tell, man, he trains in a sort of like really small lockup, minimal equipment, you know, puts on his bad lifts, his good lifts, you know, he puts on videos of him doing stuff, like, if I'm honest, quite badly. Yeah. And like, you know, I thought, you know, I respect that because, you know, people like to show all the good stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
Shows he's human as well, which is a selling point.
And I mean, there's so many now. That is what my podcast is about. Like when I was a first personal trainer, it was me and Andrew Tyrrell were probably the only two I knew.
Yeah.
And now I probably know more personal trainers than anybody else.
Yeah.
Not than anybody else, but I
know what you mean.
More personal trainers than any other business.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, I want to start like, you know, finding out, okay, well, what's your background then? What's your background? You know, because there needs to be something in it.
Yeah.
You know, like you boys have obviously got a history with the music and, you know, you've got stories and experiences and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find out what people have got. And, you know, you quickly find out people who have and haven't. And, you know, it might seem a little bit unfair because you might have a 19-year-old that's coming into the industry that hasn't got much experience. But then I think you can tell sometimes, can you, if they got something about them and they'll catch your eye for whatever reason. And I just want to, you know, speak to people about it really because it's my passion, I suppose, same as you've got with music. And it's probably why I'm rabbiting on now because I love the music as well, like, you know.
Yeah. Well, Josh is a prime example in that somebody who's young, relatively new to the PT game, but he brings something different to other people. I've been watching him train different people for the last 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
And so he brings his technique theory really.
Yeah.
Is second to none. You watch the form and everything. He's not a weightlifter, but he makes sure they lift the weights properly. He's a boxer and he is clean and he's with his technique and he puts that ethos in everything. So I think he's probably got a big future ahead of him.
Oh,
if you take him off the tools.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
Joe, just to let you know, Jay, Chris and Josh actually think they're better builders than what they are PTs. And so you always see them ripping something down and then paying somebody then to put it back up 6 months later.
My missus is far better at deconstruction than she is at construction.
Yeah. That's a good example. Like Josh, like considering he's 6'5", his squats are perfect, his deadlifts are perfect, everything he does is perfect. His boxing is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
You know, so like you said, he would have an amazing career in personal training, and like, you know, I think that is sort of like, you know, I'm like Greg, like I'm almost trying to sift out the shit.
Yeah.
Because there is like a fair bit of shit within the fitness industry, and like. You know, it will soon, you know, it might take a while, but...
Is that what your podcast is about, or is it more showing the shining lights of the fitness industry?
Of course it is, but then, it's you know, like, mate, you know me really well, and you know that I'm ranting in my head every single day. I will vary. If you scroll through my Facebook, Instagram, it's only positivity on there.
Yeah.
Because... despite what I might be thinking, I would never almost dishonor my industry by being that person. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm thinking a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Probably before I've even said anything to you. But I would never put that out publicly because I feel as if it would be a slight against the whole thing, because there is so much negativity out there that like me adding fuel to that fight, I could sit and write bad stuff all day, because there's so much of it out there. But that's not why I'm in it. I wanna, I genuinely am one of the ones who like, want it to happen. Like, I haven't made any money for years and years and years and years, so it obviously wasn't the money. Like, I was passionate about the business, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, I stand by that, like, till the day I die. Like, it's that's all. I would have jumped out of this industry a long time ago if that was the case. Like,
So how long can you see yourself in that industry, Chris? Because obviously you're very, very fit. You're closer to 40 than what you are 30, the same age as me. How long can you see yourself being in the fitness industry for?
Mate, like, I genuinely feel fine. Like, I train every day now with 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I do what they do, like.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about normal 20. I train with Josh.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you've only got to look at him, like. I keep up with them all, like. So don't get me wrong, something drastic might happen, but I've got a massive new lease of life. The last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I'll hold my hands up. I was ready to jump out of the fitness industry a few years ago.
I know, we spoke about it a few times.
Yeah, I really was, because I could see more and more people coming in. And I don't know, I just felt as if I'd done it. It wasn't the same anymore. Probably a little bit like the transition that the music industry went through.
Yeah.
Like that period I said about where there wasn't really, I know when Escape sort of finished, there was no sort of like, what's it called? What's the word? There was no like
transition, is it?
What? No. There was the words on the tip of my tongue. There was no like vibe to. There was no sort of thing. There was no scene. That's
no. There was a void. There was a complete void after that when Escape shut. There wasn't a clubbing scene in Swansea.
And I felt as if like that sort of like happened in the fitness industry, where like CrossFit and Funky Pump were sort of going, and then when you've been going for such a long time, Funky Pump wasn't new, CrossFit wasn't really new, and then it was sort of a bit of a flat period.
Yeah, it goes stale, doesn't it?
And then all of a sudden we had just a new influx of people, and they are the ones that reinvented it. It wasn't me. Like, it was like a lot of my mates are responsible for this, like Arnold, Jack, Justin, Bondi, Nathan Jones, Dan Atkins. They came in and they sort of like, they all made it exciting again. There was a new influx of younger girls as well who came in, and they brought all their mates in, and all of a sudden it became like a thing again. And that is what happened. And like, maybe that was what happened with the music. I think the music was probably more down to the music went a bit shit, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think from my point of view, I would say that I think one of the things that changed as regards the music, or certainly the DJ inside of it, was, in my opinion anyway, is that I wouldn't say it was exclusive before, but it was quite a big financial commitment for somebody to go and buy 2 Technics and a mixer and a load of records every week to get into the scene. And then when it became a digital format, it allowed people to be able to go into their bedroom and start doing it on quite simple, cheap equipment, but with a good quality output at the end of it. And I think that detracted from a lot of DJs. Greg will probably back me up on this, and that's probably is that there's probably more DJs around nowadays than there's ever been. But the standard isn't any better than it was probably 25 years ago, if the truth be told. And from what you were saying about the fitness industry, which is something I know nothing about, I'll be honest with you, Chris, right? So that it sounds as if a lot of people saw that it was a fad, and then they thought that they could make some money out of it. I'm trying to read between the lines a little bit, but maybe that might be the case. You could tell me. So,
no, just you hit the nail on the head. And like, I never actually, until you just said it then, I never actually thought of it like that. But that is exactly what happened. And, to be honest, I can't believe I haven't sort of twigged it before, because it was so blatantly that was what happened. It was a skill before, wasn't it? It was like, like you say, you invested in it. And like, I remember when me and Andrew Terrell were doing our courses, it was an investment. And like, you had to buy kit, and you had to get flyers done, and you had to be out there. And like, I remember I came up with a thing called the Body MOT. And at the time, like, I was so chuffed with that, because I'd never seen it before. you know, like how many times we've seen the word body MOT now in the last 10 years? You
Yeah.
know, like it's almost just you just regurgitating all the different bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And you know, there is massive comparisons between the two.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, I do sense there was probably a little bit of resentment as well between the old school DJs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, the people that were coming through. And like, unfortunately, you've got to have new people come through.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were probably, you know, speaking, like as me and Greg have known each other for a long time, me and Greg were probably at the age where we saw a massive change. Like, I was like 17 before you saw a mobile phone. Like, so, you know, like that's a big jump now compared to someone like 10 years younger who's probably from the age of sort of like 11 or 12 has always known there to be a mobile phone. And, you know, same with the DJ and things. So I don't, you know, I don't blame the DJs for sort of probably resenting it a little bit because it was such a big jump. You know, from like, you know, I can like, it almost sort of like happened overnight where you'd literally be carrying records.
Yeah.
Then you'd be carrying CDs. And then all of a sudden,
you got a USBs.
It was really quick going there.
Well, I said this to Greg on my interview that I found it really difficult to deal with the transition from vinyl to digital, right? I make no bones about it. And I really pushed against it for a long, long time. And in the end, you just feel as if you're like King Canute sitting on the beach trying to hold the tide back, and it ain't going to change, is it, really? And you've just got to ride with it. And I play a hell of a lot of the stuff that I've got on vinyl, that I bought on vinyl nowadays, just on a different output, that's all.
Yeah.
And I've had to adapt the way that I play to a certain extent as well because of the technology. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's reinvigorated me, to be brutally honest. Greg will back me up on that. It has, you know what I mean? I didn't play out for a long, long time. I'd still play and I'd still buy music and I'd still be into the scene. And Greg would still send me text messages. Can you tell me the name of this? Or where can I get this mix from? And stuff like that. But I think this has completely reinvigorated me. In the last 3 months, my missus would say that mental health wise as well, how much of a change this has made to me as well.
Yeah, I don't know what, boys, right? I gotta give it to you, like, you know, like, I think sort of like the way you've been consistent in the old school stuff, you know, that sort of, you know, shows the passion, doesn't it? It's easy to do a couple of bits and pieces and you see people dip their toe in and then like step out. And, you know, I feel as if we're quite sort of similar with our, you know, the work out of it. Like, but no, I do always wonder, I think, you know, like when you were playing on vinyl, boys, you know, because you'd obviously go in your bag looking for a track, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Like, how do you know where the track is now? Or do you just flick through on the USB and think, oh, I'll have that one?
Yeah,
and
I do that.
He's going to have a different answer, to be honest.
So if I go to my Wally answer first, and Justin then can go through his structure. So I got when it comes to old school stuff, I got two files. I got Classic House and I got Bullets. So the Classic House is everything that's good, but doesn't make the bullet file. The bullet file is my showstoppers. So if I'm in a gig and it's kicking off, I won't leave my bullet file. It'll be banger after banger after banger after banger until I've run out of bangers and I'll get somebody else on then.
Yeah.
He starts looking at his phone then.
Yeah. Greg is ruthless, isn't he?
Yeah. It's just a simple format for me. It's just I've got like 500-600 tunes in one file, and I've probably got about 80 in the other, and I'll flick between the two of them, and I'll just scroll past, like you said. Oh my God, you're down a while. I'll play at. It depends what time you're playing, obviously, or what the crowd is. But yeah, I'm here down a while, and then I'll just play it. Everything I do is completely off the bat. I don't even know what tune I'm. 99 times out of 100, I don't even know what tune I'm starting with. Never mind what the second tune is, the third tune is, the fourth tune is. And then you've got Justin then, who's really structured, and he'll start talking about his process, which is completely different to mine.
The way I do it is different to Greg's. The end product is roughly the same, though, in a lot of ways. Is how, you'll probably say the same with fitness. How you get between A and B doesn't really matter as long as you follow a structure to it.
Yeah.
The way I do it is I've probably got about 6,000 or 7,000 tracks right, in a file at any one time, really. And a lot of my inspiration will come from listening to the other boys, right? And I'll hear a track that they played, and I think, I know something that would go work really well with that, and then I'll pull that one out. But I'll make a whole new playlist for every set I do. Every set I do, I will sit down the night before, and there'll be 2 or 3 tracks that will tend to make it from the last set that I've done. But no, he's shaking his head.
It's like there's just fucking far too much effort.
I know, but I love music as well, and not just house music. You know, I love hip hop, right? I absolutely love hip hop. I've loved it for years and years. I love soul. I love stuff like that. I like rock, and I like indie, and my music taste is vast. But I know that I just like the way I look at it, right? Is that we're pushing out maybe 20 hours of content a week, right? Across 7 or 8 DJs. And I just think that if I was to play all the same stuff every time for 10 weeks, for me, I'd be doing my nut in, right? And there's some of the tracks that I've played over the course of this last 3 months that are completely different than anybody else has played. And I think Greg would vouch for that. Like I played Blur Song 2, right, as a closing song a couple of weeks ago, right? I played Talking Heads. I've played Stone Roses. I've played Happy Mondays tracks. I've played Bill Withers' Lovely Day, right? So just to try and mix it up a bit.
And you know what, like, you know, obviously it's the first time we've had a chat and stuff, but like you strike me as a type of guy who obviously passionate about it, and like that, like you are my dream guy to having a house party with me, like, do you know what I mean? Because like I'll sort of like try and sing along. So I say, "Oh, Justin, get this one on. What is it?" I don't know, but it goes like this, and then you would probably know it.
He will know what it is, 100%.
And you know what, mate? And that, you know, it's funny because Bevo and Dylan are like they are like you. They will know the songs. They, you know, like if I ever need to know the name of a song, like those 2 boys will know it. And like, you know, considering how long I've been like around the music and stuff like that, it is a little bit in one ear, out the other.
Yeah.
I can remember the occasions, and I know you said to me, what's the best, your favourite song? I can remember where I was, and I can remember how I felt, but I'm pretty sure it was Eric Murillo in Ibiza, and like I was like, you know, it sounds a bit drastic, like, but like it was like a full-on emotional sort of like scenario, like, you know, and it was like I can't remember the song. I tried to look for it earlier. It was something like the sun is shining or something like that.
It's not Son and Taz. The sun don't shine. The sun don't shine. The sun
don't shine
about you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, okay, there we are.
So,
it's a fucking jukebox.
Yeah, but you know now, like the sun don't shine. The sun, no, I remember that, hearing that for the first time. Can you imagine that? Like, and the first time I'd ever heard it, it was so good.
Yeah. And
I think that was one of the moments which sticks out in my mind, as a proper like moment, like, you know. And it was but like I wouldn't, you know, until you just said, I wouldn't have known what the name of it was. What is it called again, Just?
Son and Taz, the sun don't shine. I'll send you a message after. I'll send you it over, right?
And it was, you know, well, I should remember it. Do you know why? Because I think that was my first dance in my engagement party, like, so I should have remembered that one. But
it was, I played it. You sent it to me,
you
Chris.
did, didn't you?
Remember the song, don't remember the DJ.
Yeah.
I had to play when you proposed as well, didn't I?
Isn't it funny though that I associate having being smashed and I've been
I can remember you ringing. Well, no, you didn't. No, I think you brought me to one side, or 20 minutes before you were going to propose to Kirsty, just telling me the itinerary of what he wanted. This is typical Chris, this is.
Itinerary, love it.
Just, Greg, I want this song, and then I wanted to kick into this, and then I'm going to go on one knee. You had it all planned in his head weeks ago. Told me about fucking 3 minutes before you did it.
But yeah.
And you wondered why you're stressed. So, last question, Chris.
Yeah.
So, where can you see yourself in 3 to 5 years' time?
Hopefully in Ibiza, just chilling out, and not even on the wreck, like, you know, just like I got a massively strong urge to live out in Spain, and
same.
Hopefully just be in a position to do that. What do you say, 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, so in
3 or 4 years, like the gym will be established. Hopefully, everything will be pretty sort of like, set up, and I like hopefully spend a little bit more time picking the kids up, dropping the kids off. I hopefully I'll be in a position to like, I'll never come out of the fitness industry now. I know that because I did think about it. I got sort of Martin Morgan, who obviously owns the buildings that we're renting off up there.
Yeah.
He was a big influence on me when I was about to jump out of the fitness industry.
I remember you telling me.
He said to me, Chris, you'd be crazy. He said, you're ingrained in it. When I think of fitness in Swansea, I think of you. And like, when someone sort of on the stature of him as a businessman gives you some advice, pretty stupid not to sort of listen to him. Absolutely. So, what I hope to be in that time is I want to still be training as hard as I can, not being so stressed out, because I've had, a long sort of 14, 15 years of, punching it out big time. Hopefully I can like be sitting somewhere where I can still dip my toe in as and when I want, still have my hand involved, but to the level that I'm sort of comfortable with, and be able to spend more time with my kids and my family. Really, that's my objective. It's not so much the money; it's just the quality of life. Like
time, not cash, innit? Time, not cash.
Be comfortable, but with the family at the same time.
Well, yeah, and I think unless you're comfortable, you can't. They both go hand in hand, and who says any different is kidding themselves. Really, like it's that's how you get the freedom, isn't it? By being comfortable, and like hopefully we're setting something up now where that hopefully that will come together, like
Yeah, I think it will. Have you got any closing questions, Just?
No, now I've told him. So he's aware of my musical knowledge. We're all right, I think. Now we're on the same page.
Oh, mate, honestly, like I could talk. I want to talk about like the old days again, like because it was such fond memories, and like I'll never forget it. And it's proper like set me up going forward, and I love it now. Like when I think of like with Dylan, like I took him to Ibiza when he was 18.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and now he is like, he's only 25 and he's like a seasoned pro. Like, he appreciates the music so much, like.
Yes.
Same with Josh, and like, they're not going out there just to get smashed on the West End. Like, they got a proper cultured, they know what it's all about. Like, Josh will say, like, he went to, like, I don't know, a certain night and sang. He's like, I don't know, it just wasn't my scene, like, so.
Yeah.
Know their tastes, and I love that they're not just there for the making up the numbers, everything. They've got their own opinions and their own tastes and stuff. Yeah, and it's great to see them. I have that opinion on the music, because like me and I tell them stories about like our times, Greg, all the time, and like I'm almost gutted they weren't with us then, because it was so new and fresh,
Yeah, it was. It's a completely different. I don't know. It just feels different now, doesn't it, compared to what it is now, compared to what it was then. It's just. I can't put my finger on it. Just you probably could, but
I think that music has become a lot cleaner. There's not the same underground anymore, because there's no such thing as underground music, because people don't break music in the same way that they used to. It used to be like Pete Tong on Friday night, or John Peel during the week in Radio 1 if it was indie music and stuff like that. But because people are able to put it out themselves onto platforms like YouTube, Facebook, whatever they may be, is you don't need to go through those radio stations. So you can create a buzz without having to go to a big place. And I think that I went back to Ibiza for the first time last summer, for the first time in a long time. Right? I took my daughter's 9, so we took her out for the first ever time. So I had it from a completely different experience than previously. And I've always loved the island, right? I absolutely love the West End. Does nothing for me, right? It's done. And jumping in a car and driving to Escanar, or going to Port Portanax, or going to San Miguel and places like that, Callalonga and things where you're a little bit more don't get me wrong, all of those are touristy places now, but they're nowhere.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful place that people, I don't want people to think that Ibiza is all about sweaty kids in nightclubs dancing to bang 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 music, because it isn't that at all. There's so much more to it. Honestly, if I had the money, if the money came tomorrow, I won the lottery tomorrow. Yeah, that's where we're going. Like, it's simple as.
Like you said there, like my I done the boys trips. If I go to Ibiza now, I want to go with Kirsty.
Yeah.
And I want to go with the kids, because like I can still, you can still get a taste of the vibe. Like, I love landing in the airport.
Yeah.
Jumping in the taxi and just driving past all the billboards.
Yeah.
All that is part of it for me.
Of course.
And to be honest, I probably had some of my best trips when it hasn't been on a sesh. Like, do you mean? Because I really enjoyed, because the places you just named there have been amazing, and it's like, that is what I'm saying. It's like, when you say about, like, I don't know what it is that is different now. It's simply, in the 60s, it was a scene. In the 70s, it was a different scene.
Yeah.
In the 80s, it was the disco.
Yeah.
And then 90s, early 2000 was the raves into the clubs. Yeah. And you can never reinvent those things again, because if you did a 60s event now, it's a bit yeah. And if you did, it's and that's why, like, as much as I said earlier that Clockwork Orange was my a really good night and experience back in Ibiza last year. The sort of I felt as if they were still a little bit like stuck in the old times in terms of their production.
Yeah.
When you compare it to Glitterbox, which is obviously current.
Yeah.
And then like this, it was spinning me out a little bit. Like, I was in Amnesia, right? And they had a collage of photos going up behind the decks.
Yeah.
Like, with all like random people, like, oh man, Dave, 1997. And I was thinking, like, but that's not real. Like, because only the people that knew Mad Dave would know him. And it was like Crazy Pete back in the day. And it was like, I was thinking, this is bonkers, this is, because we're in Amnesia, which is one of the biggest clubs in the world.
I've been to somebody's birthday party.
But it was like that, mind. And like, I was thinking, the music was just unbelievable. But the production now, when you compare it to something like Ants and Glitterbox and all those types of things, that's what it's become more about, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think people want bang for their buck as well. So if they're paying 50, 60, 70, 80 euros to get in, they expect it to be an experience, not just... Because years ago, you used to go for the DJ. You didn't care what club it was in. You used to go for the DJ. Like, that was... Or Carl Cox is playing, right? Oh, I'll go see... I love Carl Cox. I'll go there, for argument's sake, if that was your choice. Or Sasha, Weed, whatever it might be. But I think Ibiza started to change with... and I know Dan spoke about this on his one as well. Darren Emerson and what was the other guy? Was that with Darren Emerson when they started doing Underwater, and Murillo early when Subliminal first kind of came out, started making it big. They changed it from being underground to a whole experience. So they had gorgeous looking dancers, proper light shows, proper effects. The way the club was decorated, because you used to go into clubs years ago. Club decor it didn't happen. No. You used to have a couple of backdrops with a couple of UV lights, right? and a strobe, and that would be it. But nowadays, it is like a full-on West End production almost, isn't it? When you go to
and that is it. It's like, but do you know what? The only thing I would say, and again, maybe I was, I don't know, influenced, and like it affected me. Like, I quite young and sort of probably quite forward thinking. I really did like Miss Moneypennies from a very young age.
Right.
And that was always about the production.
Yeah.
And I used to spend a lot of time up in Birmingham. And, I used to go to Miss Moneypennies like once or twice a month. And like, it excited me because I think I was so young. And the fact that like the transvestites and all the whatever they were like walking up and down the queue. Yeah. And they were saying to people, no, you're not coming in.
Yeah.
Like, it was all, like, he separated it all. And
Yeah.
it was just, that was really exciting. And I probably should have mentioned that earlier. Like, you know, that was an amazing club, that was.
Garland's as well, you're a big fan of as well, you, Chris.
Garland's up in Liverpool. That was, again, similar type of vibe. I, like, Miss Moneypenny's for me was probably before. And then I started going to Garland's. And, again, just, they were probably ahead of their time, really, when they, in terms of production.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, if you go back a little bit further than that, with Cream in Liverpool, Cream Nation, in Nation when it was in Liverpool, if you look at the pictures of inside there when it was bouncing, and I'm talking when it was really at its height, very little production values. All they had was just a couple of the Cream logos hanging around, but no big light show, nothing flashy going on, no big like backdrops behind the DJ, anything like that. It was just a booming sound system, their brand logo, and people would go there because of who was playing rather than how it looked. And then, but obviously you've got to attract a different crowd. And I suppose clubbing went through the stage of needing to attract people with money to make it legit, because the government was so intent on shutting it down through the criminal justice bill because of the illegal raves and stuff like that, is that they had to become legitimate businesses. And the way that they realised that legitimate businesses would work is by attracting people to come back week on week on week and invest in their brand.
Yeah.
Takes you back to the Funky Pump, doesn't it? Is that you've worked hard to make your brand look and sound and feel and smell and everything in a specific way so that people buy into that brand, so they come back and back and back, and they then promote it. They are your promoters for you, effectively, aren't they?
And that's it. It's like, you know, there was a natural progression up in Birmingham where you go to a place called the Arcadian, and that was where all the funky bars were.
Yeah.
And then it was like up to Miss Moneypenny's on, is it Hagley Road? Is that my right?
Yeah, Hagley Road. Yeah.
And like, I don't know, just being sort of in and around that, like you almost like separated yourself then from the ones who were, I don't know, spewing and just smashing the double.
Chucking it down.
So,
Absolutely.
It's interesting, especially when you actually sit down and actually talk about it all. It's you know, it's brilliant, and I'm glad to have been like able to experience loads of it as well. Like, you know.
No, it's great that you put a different slant on it as well than somebody who stands behind a set of decks playing stuff. Because I like clubbing, because I like standing behind the decks and playing stuff. And I do see it in a different way than a punter. I don't like to use that term particularly, but I think that because it's so intertwined in your life and your work life, not just your personal life and friends and stuff, but also your work life, it's influenced your work life massively. I can tell that from our conversation tonight, and obviously I know a little bit about it anyway. But it just shows how you don't have to be a DJ to be passionate about it. No. You don't even have to be a clubber anymore to be passionate about it. Do you know what I mean?
And I know people that, like, you know, I'm shocked sometimes at their sort of knowledge and what they like and stuff, and they haven't been clubbers. And, you know, I've said for years I'd like to be a DJ, but I probably just have never put the time aside. And maybe when Greg says to me about the gym and stuff, maybe that is maybe the role I might try and go down, because, you know, I'd enjoy that. So you're still sort of very much involved in the fitness side of it, but be able to, I'll have to back it up now. And I've just told everybody that I'd be a brilliant DJ, but I'll have to put the money where my mouth is one day.
You'll have to. It's a lot harder than what you think.
Yeah.
But
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for your time. Obviously, I knew you were going to be a great guest anyway, because I knew what your passion was with music, and it's just brilliant that we managed to pull it together with Funky Pump and boxing. Yeah. So I knew you'd be a great guest anyway. So thanks for your time tonight. Even though you almost cancelled on me.
I know. I'm good. Sorry.
I was going to cancel on you, Greg, but I've had 2 glasses of red wine. I'm right up for it now.
Right. Okay. Well, I wish you all the best, Chris, with the gym.
Thank you, Justin.
And I don't live too far away from Cumdee, so I'll when it's open, I'll swing past and we'll say hello in face to face.
Bring your USBs.
I knew I was coming.
All right, okay. No problem. I can manage that.
Basically, the rule is, if you ever come near the gym, bring your USBs, right?
Okay, that's fine.
That's it. Yeah.
I can manage that.
Yeah. Thank you, mate.
We're good. Excellent.
Right.
All
Cheers,
the best.
Chris.
Take it easy. Ta-ra. Ta-ra.